Slavery of Men by Women. A noble piece which is a must-read for every man under the globe. Every man, irrespective of who they are, must read the book by a German writer, Esther Villar In her book The Manipulated Man. This book has caused outrage and hostile criticism from women. It explains how women since the earliest times have manipulated men and turned them into their slaves. They have pretended to be the oppressed gender while in the real sense they are the oppressors. She explains how a woman manipulates a man skillfully by steps like courtship and finally marriage, hence the saying, a man chases a woman until she catches him. In her book she explains how the man is tricked to care for the woman all his life and her offspring. He rolls the stone like Sisyphus and in turn gets rewarded by a few minutes of sexual pleasure. We can, by observing Esther Villar's assertions that a man is a slave of his desires and the woman uses and has used it for thousands of years as a stick and carrot to keep the man chasing vanity and commit his life to serving her. She goes ahead to explain the rivalry of women, how each woman feels the powerful urge and need to own a male for herself. Like a slave owner, she detests any move the man would make to offer his services to another woman. She uses all means to keep the man to herself and her offspring alone. Esther Villar's sentiments are captured by Nigerian poet, critic and writer, Chinwezu Ibekwe in his book, The Anatomy of Female Power, AFP, and Will Ferrell's The Predatory Female. They all push the theory that all societies are matriarchal and not patriarchal as we are pushed and forced to believe. Matriarchy has ruled not through brawn but wits and tricks, women feigning weakness to be protected, etc. Thus the male becomes the most exploited gender in human history. In wars the man is always ready to die for the woman, he has been trained to do that. Chinwezu calls the idea of dating and courtship, training, like that of a horse. It is during this time that a woman, having kept the man on a leash by denying him sex and getting him addicted to her by false charms, trains and breaks him to whatever she wants him to become. The marriage celebration becomes a celebration for the woman and her friends, and they all congratulate her for having succeeded in getting herself a slave. A man on that wedding day waves goodbye to his independence and his coalition of males and commits himself to a Sisyphean life, rolling the stone, an act he cannot abandon, having society and the government checking on him and always ready to jail, shame or exile him for absconding his duties of slavery. Thus the government and society helps the woman in keeping her slave man in check. Chinwezu gives a narration of how women are trained by older matriarchs to tame men. He explains how a man is trained to rely on women by his own mother. A man is shamed for cooking for himself and other domestic chores by his own mother, who is an agent of the global matriarchal rule. By getting the man to hate domestic works and having it enforced by culture which warns men against going into the kitchen, doing laundry, etc. The mother trains his son for the woman who will captivate him, and when the time comes she takes hold of the man's stomach, and by getting the man addicted to her body she holds him by the two, in bed and in the kitchen. With those two weapons she manipulates the man and turns him into her plaything. Thank you for watching and listening to this masterpiece. Do endeavor to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share.